Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is good, and I've decided to just move forward with this table thing, do what I can, which is work on the top. So this is the top. Well, yeah, I think this is the top that we decided on. I hope so, because I think the other side has some indents in it now. And I have decided to not. I still haven't got any new alcohol to treat the to break down my shellac, and so I decided to use one of my other favorite finishes on this, which is wipe-on polyurethane. This is very similar to shellac in the way that I use it. Aside from those flood coats, I don't do flood coats with this, which means that I scuff it to a higher grit. This time I went with 180. So I had this at 120 with the hand sander, and then I took it to 150 by hand, or I had it to 120 with the orbital. You know, this guy. 120 on here. I then took it to 150 by hand, using my little sanding blocks, and then that's where I would normally stop with shellac, but with wipe-on poly, I'll go to 180. I don't see a need to go any higher than that, except for between coats. And wipe-on poly is a quote film finish, meaning that if you put enough of it on, it will form a plastic-like barrier that is like silky smooth to the touch. I don't normally use it that way. Right now I have three coats on both the top and the bottom, and those are extremely thin coats. Those are basically like dampen a rag, just a piece of a t-shirt, get it wet but not dripping, just so that it's damp, and then wipe it, and that's it. I don't push down. I'm not trying to squeeze out finish onto the surface. I'm just basically making the surface look wet. And I don't want standing puddles or anything like that. It's just wipe. So wipe, 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 wipe. It turns out it's a beautiful finish for. I use it a lot on cherry, on maple, walnut, that sort of stuff. This might be the first time I've used it on pine. I'm not positive, but it really is. The thing about wipe-on poly or oil-based polyurethanes in general is it's really an oil finish that happens to have some plastic in it, right? The poly part, the plastic part, is a scratch prohibitor, but the main finish is oil. So this is actually, I don't know what Minwax uses. I'm going to assume it's linseed oil. It probably is linseed oil with some polymerized polyurethane and some thinner as a drying agent. And so what this really is an oil finish that happens to have some plastic in it, and those plastic binders are scratch resistant. They help, hold the surface together. And so I'm done with the bottom and the sides. Well, no, the bottom. The sides will still probably get extra coats. The bottom is done at 3 coats. I don't do any more than that, and I will go up to 6 coats on the top and sides. 3 coats today. This will sit. I'll probably move it into the other room, or I'll try to set it up over here somewhere where it's not going to get moved around, and let it cure tonight. And then tomorrow I'll scuff it with a white Scotch pad, the white version, the basically the quadruple aught equivalent. I'll scuff the top and sides and the ends, and then 3 more coats tomorrow, and then let it sit. The problem is, the reason that I don't say normally, I do use this finish. I don't normally use it on pine because it really takes days, maybe even weeks, for it to fully cure. And the type of stuff that I build with pine is usually slapped together utilitarian stuff, and I don't have time to let it just sit. This time being it's a long holiday weekend, it can just sit here and chill until next week. And when my kid comes back on Tuesday, it should be fully cured enough that she can take it home and use it. The can says 24 hours. It says don't, you can normal use after 24 hours, which is probably true, but I have had, even on hardwoods, where I'm just building a film finish with this, I've had stuff stick, after 48 hours. So it really needs some time. And that's all dependent on humidity and temperature and airflow and all that sort of stuff. This is a oil finish, so having air, it is a, I forget what it's called, when oil-based finishes require oxygen. They basically oxidize. That's how they cure. They don't dry, they cure. And so having air moving over it actually helps the oil cure. And so, all of those things are a factor. If the wood is wet, it won't cure as well. There's a whole bunch of considerations. But 3 coats, it could probably be used just like this. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it, but again, I'm going to go 6 full coats, top and sides, and then just let it sit for 4 or 5 days, and hopefully by that time I will have the legs fully redone, however I'm going to redo them. I think what I'm going to experiment with on the bottom, I'm going to get a rag and some denatured alcohol and just wipe it down as best I can, try to get as much of the tackiness out of it as I can, and then I'm just going to wax over top of it. I'm not going to do anything extra to the legs and the bottom shelf, just wax. And I should have just done that originally. That's what I was going to do. Those pieces aren't really going to see heavy use. And for years, for, I don't know, thousands of years, wax has been a wood finish. Just wax, nothing else. Just put some wax on, buff it out, done. It doesn't make for a particularly well-wearing finish, meaning that on a tabletop, it will need to be re-waxed very regularly because the wax will basically wipe off. And it doesn't do much to protect the wood fibers or bind the fibers. Like this oil and polyurethane finish will bind these fibers together and help it resist denting, resist scratching. It'll make this top stronger, which is good for pine because pine is notoriously weak. But I should have just waxed those legs and not done the shellac, but I decided to try it. And I'm paying the price. So, lesson learned, do not use expired shellac. And if you want to use a wiping finish, I love it in a can. You can make it yourself, and it's significantly cheaper to just buy an oil-based finish and mix it 50-50 with either naphtha or mineral spirits. But I've always just used it out of the can. It's more expensive this way, but when we're talking about this tabletop, the whole thing, it's 14 inches by 4 feet, top, sides, bottom, has 3 coats on it. I've used about 3 ounces of the product. So this is a 32 fluid ounce can. For 6 coats, I'm going to have about probably closer to 8 ounces a cup. So a quarter of the can, and it's a $17 can. I don't know. Are you saving that much money? I mean, I guess if you're doing a ton of production work, yeah, mixing it yourself would save you a ton of money. But I'm not doing production work, and I'm using ounces. I'm not using gallons. So mixing it myself, I don't know. I just buy the cans. So that's what I got. Hopefully, I don't know. Is anybody enjoying the shop talk? I know that like most of the people here are board gamers. Talking about finishing, talking about shellac. Does that really interest anybody? Let me know if you're interested in that sort of stuff in the comments. And if you are, what is your go-to finish? What is that thing that you like to apply because it's, right for you? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is insuperable. It is an adjective meaning not possible to overcome or surmount. Conceit is an insuperable obstacle to all progress. Ellen Terry, a British actress. Insuperable. INSUPERABLE. I've never heard that word. Insuperable. Not possible to overcome or surmount. So I guess, is Superman also insuperable?